Good day, I am Roselyn Ampo and I will be the reporter for audit procedures for obtaining audit evidence. The auditor performs risk assessment procedures in order to provide a basis for the assessment of risk. Risk assessment procedures by themselves do not provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence on which to base the audit opinion, so it must be supplemented by further audit procedures in the form of test of controls and substantive procedures. Even if the auditor tests controls, of course, may mga inherent limitation yan to internal control. Kasama na dyan yung risk of management override, the possibility of human error, and the effect of systems changes. So, required na magsagawa ng substantive procedures for material classes of transactions, account balances, and disclosures to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Evidence gathering techniques. So, how do auditors obtain evidence? They obtain audit evidence through the following evidence gathering techniques, which include inquiry, observation, inspection, recalculation, reperformance, confirmation, and analytical procedures. So first evidence gathering technique is inquiry, which consists of seeking information of knowledgeable persons inside or outside the entity. So, example of this is obtaining written or oral information from the client in response to specific questions during the audit. Next is observation, which consists of looking at a process or procedure being performed by others. One example is observation by the auditor of the counting of inventories by entities personnel or site visit at the client's facilities. The third one is inspection, which consists of examining records, documents, or tangible assets. For example, reviewing sales orders, sales invoices, shipping documents, bank statements, customer return documents, customer complaint letters, and so on. The next one is recalculation, which consists of checking the arithmetical accuracy of source documents and accounting records or performing independent calculations. Halimbawa na lang is yung extending sales invoices in inventory, adding journals and subsidiary records, checking the calculation of depreciation expense and prepaid expense. Next evidence gathering techniques is reperformance, which consists of independent execution of procedures or controls that were originally performed as part of the entity's internal control. Example is yung CAATs or yung mga computer-assisted audit tool para i-check yung controls recorded sa database, or yung reperforming of aging of accounts receivable. Confirmation, which consists of response to an inquiry to corroborate information contained in the accounting records. This confirmation is used to like confirming the existence of accounts receivable and accounts payable, or verify bank balances with banks, cash surrender value of life insurance, notes payable with lenders or bondholders. The last evidence gathering technique is analytical procedures, which consists of the analysis of significant ratios and trends, including the resulting investigation of fluctuations and relationships that are inconsistent with other relevant information or that deviate from predictable amounts. Example of these are calculating trends in sales over the past few years, comparing net profit as percentage of sales in current year with the percentage of the preceding year, comparing client current ratio to the industry current ratio, and comparing budgets to actual results. Okay, in this report, I will discuss the inquiry, and the rest of the evidence gathering techniques will be thoroughly discussed by the other members of our group. Inquiry, which is the most frequently used to gather evidence, and as defined in the previous slides, it consists of seeking information of knowledgeable persons inside or outside the entity. Inquiries may range from formal written inquiries, which is addressed to third parties, to informal oral inquiries, which is addressed to person inside the entity. So, responses from inquiries provide the auditor with information na hindi nakuha or na-possess previously, or kaya naman yung responses na makukuha dito might provide information that differs significantly from other information na na-obtain ng auditor. For example is yung information regarding the possibility of management override of controls. Pero ano ba yung management override of controls? Management override, it refers to the ability of the management or those charged with governance to manipulate accounting records and prepare fraudulent financial statements by overriding these controls. And sa cases na ganito, responses to inquiries provide a basis para sa auditor to modify or perform additional audit procedures. Under inquiry, we have this called corroboration. So, in a typical audit, the largest amount of audit evidence is obtained from client inquiry, but it cannot be regarded as conclusive because it is not from an independent source and might be biased in the client's favor. So, therefore, the auditor must gather evidence to corroborate inquiry evidence by doing other alternative procedures. But what does corroboration mean? Corroboration is an evidence that confirms or supports a statement, theory, or finding. For example, the auditor generally makes inquiries about internal control, accounting entries, and procedures. Later, for corroboration, the auditor may observe the control procedures, which is observation, or review related documentation, which is related naman sa inspection.